You're standing in your kitchen, bleary-eyed and craving a quick morning pick-me-up. You see that familiar box in the pantry, the one with Pop Tarts. But have you ever wondered why these toaster pastries always come in pairs? What if I told you this pastry pairing was no coincidence? Stay tuned as we get straight into the diabolical minds of Kellogg's and the real reason Pop Tarts come in pairs. Let's rewind the breakfast clock to the early 1960s, shall we? Imagine this. The cereal experts at Post were celebrating their new creation, Gainsburgers. Now, you might be scratching your head thinking, burgers for breakfast? Not quite. These weren't just regular beef patties. They were semi-moist dog food that could be stored at room temperature, changing the pet food game. But here's where things get interesting. While celebrating their success in making dog mealtime easier, Post discovered something big. They discovered a way to make fruit fillings that didn't need to chill in the fridge. Suddenly, a world of breakfast possibilities opened up, ripe for the taking. Enter Kellogg's, the breakfast behemoth with a keen eye for innovation. Seeing this potential, Kellogg's did what any smart competitor would do. They hired Bill Post, a former manager from the Post-Keebler plant. It was like a strategic breakfast chess move. With Bill on board, Kellogg's was poised to upstage their rival. They set their sights on creating their own version of Post's toaster-friendly fruit-filled marvels. But little did they know, they were about to set off on a toaster pastry showdown for the ages. As Kellogg's got to work, they felt the pressure to beat Post's innovation. With Bill Post's baking skills, they aimed to create the perfect toaster pastry. Now, it's the swinging 60s, and Post and Kellogg's are locked in a battle of breakfast supremacy. Post, fresh off their Gainsburgers triumph, had a vision of fruity, toaster-friendly pastries that would revolutionize the morning routine. But first, they needed a name that would capture the hearts and taste buds of breakfast lovers everywhere. When Kellogg's heard about this, they started working on what we now call Pop Tarts, but they first called them fruit scones. Not exactly the most electrifying name, right? It's like they were trying to sell pastries to your grandma's knitting club. But then, inspiration struck like a bolt of sugary lightning. They got the idea for the name from the pop art movement of the 60s. While Post was still thinking about their launch, Kellogg's added pop to scones, and Pop Tarts were born. With their catchy new name, Kellogg's quickly introduced their fruity treats to Cleveland. Yes, Cleveland, the unsuspecting guinea pig in the grand experiment of breakfast innovation. Test markets were the name of the game, and Kellogg's was ready to see if their Pop Tarts had what it took to become a breakfast sensation. So, they shipped out their toaster-friendly treats with a stern warning to store managers, don't you dare try to pass these off as cereal. They wanted Pop Tarts to be popular on their own, not just because of Tony the Tiger's Frosted Flakes. It seemed like the breakfast gods were smiling on Kellogg's that day, because what happened next was nothing short of a breakfast miracle. Pop Tarts flew off the shelves, faster than you can say Blueberry Blast. Kellogg's had a hit on their hands, and they knew it. The demand for Pop Tarts was like a tidal wave, and they had to scramble to keep up. Production plans went into overdrive as they ramped up from a measly 10,000 cases to a whopping 45,000 cases for their national debut. And like that, Pop Tarts went from a humble experiment to a breakfast powerhouse. The success was unexpected, the demand was insatiable, and the rest, as they say, is history. From those early days in Cleveland to the breakfast tables of America, Pop Tarts had arrived and they were here to stay. So the next time you sink your teeth into a warm, gooey Pop Tart, take a moment to appreciate the journey that brought it to your plate. It's a story of innovation, experimentation, and the sweet taste of success. Was the pastry power behind this wave of success, or the dynamic duo packaging? It's like they're the Bonnie and Clyde of the breakfast world, inseparable and always up to mischief. Ever notice how Pop Tarts come nestled in their iconic foil pouches, 2 by 2? Well, there's a method to this delicious madness, and it all comes down to dollars and cents. You see, by packing Pop Tarts in pairs, Kellogg's found a sneaky way to save some dough. Pun intended. And think about it. one pouch, two pastries. It's packaging efficiency at its finest. By bundling them together, Kellogg's could cut back on packaging costs without skimping on portion size. It's like getting a 2-for-1 deal every time you grab a box of Pop Tarts. And who doesn't love a good bargain, am I right? But wait, there's more to this pairing phenomenon than saving a few pennies. Kellogg's was playing the long game here. By giving us 2 Pop Tarts instead of 1, they were encouraging us to enjoy more. I mean, let's be real, who can resist the siren song of a second Pop Tart? It's like they're whispering, "Go on, treat yourself, you deserve it." And before you know it, you're reaching for that second pastry faster than you can say breakfast bliss. And hey, guess what? This clever marketing ploy paid off big time. Within 2 weeks of hitting the shelves, Kellogg's entire 45,000 case supply of Pop Tarts had vanished into thin air. Talk about a breakfast revolution. But here's the kicker. Kellogg's never saw it coming. They were caught off guard by the sheer frenzy of Pop-Tart mania that swept the nation. I'm talking sold-out shelves, disappointed customers, the whole 9 yards. In fact, the demand was so overwhelming that Kellogg's had to swallow their pride and issue a heartfelt apology for the short supply. Can you imagine? A major corporation like Kellogg's groveling at the feet of hungry breakfast enthusiasts everywhere. But hey, every cloud has a silver lining, right? This unexpected success only fueled the fire of Pop-Tart fever, turning them into the breakfast juggernaut we know and love today. So, the next time you tear into a pack of Pop-Tarts, remember the humble beginnings of this iconic pairing. It's a testament to the power of clever marketing, irresistible temptation, and the eternal quest for the perfect breakfast treat. Let's fast forward to the groovy 70s, a time of disco, bell-bottoms, and the dawn of breakfast marketing brilliance. Enter Milton the Toaster, Pop-Tart's very first mascot and all-around breakfast aficionado. Voiced by William Chocolate from The Patty Duke Show, Milton became very popular. He would come into your kitchen, talking about Pop-Tarts like a skilled salesman. But Milton wasn't just a pretty face, he was the face of a breakfast revolution. With his help, Pop-Tarts went from mere pastries to pop culture icons, gracing TV screens and cereal aisles alike. Now let's talk flavors, shall we? Because when it comes to Pop-Tarts, variety is the spice of breakfast life. From the original flavors of strawberry, brown sugar cinnamon, and blueberry, to wild ones like s'mores and cookies and cream, Kellogg's tried many different flavors. But they didn't stop there. Oh no, Kellogg's was just getting started. They dabbled in seasonal specialties, tantalizing taste buds with limited time offerings like pumpkin pie for fall and sugar cookie for winter. It was a flavor fiesta that kept us coming back for more year after year. And let's not forget about the wild and wacky flavors that pushed the boundaries of breakfast bliss. Red velvet, peanut butter, mint chocolate chip, you name it, Kellogg's tried it. Some were hits. Others, well, let's just say they were an acquired taste. Like any breakfast superstar, Pop-Tarts have had their fair share of challenges and controversies along the way. From fiery mishaps to allergen woes, it's been a bumpy ride for our beloved toaster pastries. First, let's talk about the big scandal, the Pop-Tarts fire hazard. Imagine you're toasting a Pop-Tart, and suddenly, flames shoot out like a scene from a disaster movie. It's a toaster inferno, and you're the unwitting star. According to an exposé by the Washington Post, this nightmare scenario was all too real for some unlucky toaster enthusiasts. Turns out, if a Pop-Tart gets stuck in the toaster, it has a tendency to catch fire faster than you can say, breakfast emergency. But fear not, brave toaster warriors. Pop-Tarts may be fiery temptresses, but they're not without their safety measures. Now, every box has a warning about the fire risk, so you're aware before you start your breakfast. But the drama doesn't stop there. Oh no, we've got lawsuits and recalls to contend with too. It turns out that Pop-Tarts aren't just a danger to toasters, they can also pose a risk to unsuspecting allergy sufferers. In one notorious case, 100,000 boxes of Pop-Tarts were mistakenly filled with the wrong flavor, forcing a swift recall by Kellogg's. To make things worse, some mislabeled pastries had allergens that weren't properly listed, which put consumers at risk of serious reactions. But people still wonder, will the controversies and scandals bring down the cereal giant? From the competition between Post and Kellogg's to the quick launch of Pop Tarts, Kellogg's has been very successful. And despite the controversies and lawsuits, it doesn't look like that's changing anytime soon. By giving us 2 Pop Tarts instead of 1, Kellogg's encouraged faster consumption and more sales. This clever move helped them stay on top, despite the ups and downs. Now, was this marketing genius, diabolical sales strategy, or both? Let us know in the comments below. Until next time.